February 24th with an air temperature of about 7 degrees and a wind chill factor or a real feel factor of -7. We are joined today by Jeff Herrera, who is a senior in the College of Arts and Sciences, and he has a special treat for us to kick us off the show. Jeff. Woo! Live studio audience.
Little music from one of our students. Jeff, tell them who you are.
So my name is Jeffrey Herrera. I am a senior in the College of Arts and Sciences studying biology and philosophy. I'm graduating this May, so very excited to do that.
And to what do we owe this incredible talent of yours? You must do more than just walk around studying around here.
Well, I was music director of one of the acapella groups here on campus.
Which one you can say?
The BU Bosstones. And so I was music director for about a year and a half, and then I just handed down the pitch pipe to one of the sophomores in the group.
Wow. Skills. Have you always been able to do that?
No, I learned on YouTube how to beatbox.
My goodness.
All right, so what's a guy like you think about? A senior, you're about to graduate. What do you think about this time of year? What's going on in your mind? What are you worried about?
I'm definitely worried about finding a job, but I hope to find a job here at BU, student affairs or alumni relations, being able to interact with students.
Working for the university.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yep, want to guide them through their years at the university and be able to network with alumni, bring them back to university, have them remember why they came here in the first place.
Wow, cool.
Any advice you want to give our parents who are tuning in, who have sons and daughters who might be in the exact same position as you are, being an 8th semester senior at Boston University?
I would tell parents to call your kids, tell them hi. As much as we might grunt about it, they definitely love to have the conversation.
All right, even better. What would be a really wonderful graduation gift that a parent should start working on right now?
Good call.
Maybe I would say hook them up with a flight to somewhere nice and warm because Boston's a little chilly right now for my taste.
All right,
Okay.
There you go. You've had it. Wow. Well, Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Stay right here with us for a bit. We're just going to kind of chat a little bit and get everybody set. So you've heard, this is the Parents Radio program sponsored by the BU Parents Program. And if you have questions, we've got a really great lineup that Dean DeLuca will tell you a little bit more about. I'm Ken Elmore, the Dean of Students here at the university. If you do have questions, I want you to go right on to Twitter because that's a great place to do it. And you can send us your questions to at BU Parents, at BUPARENTS. And we'll be keeping an eye on that, and we'll try and answer your questions as they come up and come along. What's more, I think on the show page here, you also might be able to leave your questions too, so feel free to do that. What do we got for the lineup, Dean?
And I'm Daryl DeLuca. I think I would be remiss if I didn't articulate that we all here on the Charles River campus are still basking in the warm glow of our 30th Beanpot Championship title.
Ho! 30. Nobody, the closest anybody else to that is 19, right?
Something like that,
We
yes.
own it. We own it. We
Out
own
of
it.
63 years that we've been playing this tournament in Boston, and for those of you who aren't familiar with the Beanpot Championship, it's a local tradition in Boston with the 4 major hockey schools, Boston University, Boston College, Harvard, and Northeastern University, and it's always played in the first two Mondays in February at the TD Garden.
However,
both first Mondays in February were snowed out, so we made the makeup game last night, and Boston University defeated a great team, Northeastern University, in overtime, 4-3.
yeah.
To capture the 30th Beanpot Championship.
It was amazing. Even the consolation game before it, where Harvard played Boston College, went into overtime as well. It was another great game. I think this was like one of the best bean pots I've ever seen.
You know, Dean, of the 4 games that were played, 3 of them went into overtime.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
the first time Boston University played in the first round was a double overtime victory. So it's tremendous, and any warm glow of anything this time of day, this time of year, we'll take it.
Yeah, we will take it. And you heard, we are still buried in a lot of snow here. And it is so cold that I don't think it's going to melt anytime soon. However, here's the bright side of it. I did read that snow is a wonderful insulator, and that the ground and the flowers underneath are going to be so ready for us come spring that we are going to just love spring when it comes out this
You
year.
got a little bouquet of
Yes,
flowers there
that's
from our student
yes,
leadership.
that's right. We've
banquet last
yeah.
night,
So
so.
these are going to be popping up everywhere. I hope really soon, but when I see a 10-foot high snow mound, I'm just not sure that's going to happen.
We're thinking spring.
We're thinking spring.
We have a lineup today with folks from our study abroad office, Lilani Olson, who is our one of the executive of the study abroad program, along with Paul Lipton, who is our director of our Europe program, and we're fortunate to have with us also Nishman from the director of our university housing office.
And we wanted to make sure we had all these kinds of things that we think students are thinking about, should be thinking about this time of year, because there's some planning that goes into it in terms of the summer and also the next academic year. So that's why we focused our program the way that we have this year.
Okay, so final words, Jeff?
Yeah,
Before
you get
we
the final
take a
word.
quick break?
Final words,
Yeah.
I'd say go Terriers on the Great Beanpot win.
There you go.
There you go, absolutely. So we will be right back in a few moments. We have a commercial lined up, and we'll be back to join and continue to give you some warm glow of some sunshine from Boston University's Charles River campus in the Dean of Students office.
And remember to go ahead and send those questions to us at BU Parents on Twitter. Well, welcome back to the BU Parents Radio program, and we are here in sunny Boston. Yes, it is sunny, but it is awfully cold here today. And if you've got questions for the BU Parents Radio program, sponsored by the BU Parents program, you can just go onto Twitter and you can hit us up at BU Parents. That's at BU, Parents, at BU Parents. We'll do our best to try and answer your questions as they come in. And you can also, right here on the show page, just go ahead and put your questions in there, and we'll do our best to answer them for you. Daryl, introduce our guest.
Absolutely. We are fortunate to have with us today our kind of new, semi-new director of our Europe program, Undergraduate Research Opportunity Program, Dr. Paul Lipton. So welcome.
Welcome, Paul.
Thank you guys very much. I
Glad that
appreciate
you're here. So I want to get right to it because we don't have a whole lot of time. Talk to us and describe what prospects are available for undergraduate students in the Europe program under that umbrella.
Sure. Let me just say a little bit real quick. Europe is a program that serves the entire university community. Students in any discipline, faculty in any discipline. The idea is to get as many students as possible throughout the entire community involved in some sort of hands-on, experiential, applied experience.
Is that any school or college too?
Any of the independent schools and colleges, anything. Engineering, School of Hospitality Administration, Sargent School of Health and Rehabilitative Sciences, Dentistry, Public Health, you name it, anything.
Fabulous.
And we've got undergraduates working throughout the entire university with faculty all over the place.
And Paul, why is that important, right? This is that kind of thing people don't think a lot about when they go to college. Why is it important, especially for an undergraduate, to do this stuff?
It's hard to overstate the reasons why students should be getting involved in these activities. For one thing, it allows students to embed themselves in this really wonderful, vibrant intellectual atmosphere. They are working closely with faculty. They are working with graduate students and postdocs who are eager to mentor young students. It allows them to learn the language of a discipline. It allows them to see what it would actually be like to do the thing. To see, they can see what it is to teach science, for example, without necessarily following the traditional education track. Mm-hmm. They can work in any of the number of health professions to see what it is like to work in a hospital setting, doing research in that setting or clinical research. So any of these experiences that students learn about or read about in textbooks are exactly the kinds of things that they would end up doing working alongside a member of the faculty.
Amazing.
That's fantastic. Talk a little bit about there are academic year opportunities as well as summer opportunities?
Absolutely. So we have 3 funding cycles. Students may work, well, let me just actually take a step back. UROP is a program that facilitates access to these opportunities through either providing a listing of research opportunities or providing funding. Students may work with a member of the faculty outside of the UROP program itself. So UROP in some sense is synonymous with the idea of working with a member of the faculty, but it is also just one way in which students can get involved. So UROP provides funding through 3 different cycles. Students may apply beginning the second week of this fall semester for funding for the fall semester. Mm-hmm. They may apply for funding in the first week of December for funding for the spring semester. And our next deadline coming up for summer funding is March 4th.
Soon. That's
So
a week.
right,
Very
that's
soon.
That's next week.
So let me just say,
Yeah,
if it's still, there is still time. However, if one hasn't identified a faculty mentor, it is a little bit on the late side.
Okay.
But so if you've identified that faculty mentor and you're just a little behind, should they just try and let you know and work with you a little bit there?
Sure. Chances are, if they've already identified a faculty mentor, that's the hardest part. So they
okay.
are probably well on track.
Wow, that's great to hear.
You talk about funding sources, and I'm sure our listening audience listening in will think, well, where does this funding come from? Is that a legitimate question?
That's a fantastic question. A number of folks do ask that question. We receive an internal budget from the Provost's office, which is the bulk of our funding. We also have funding from a number of external sources. Private foundations, for example, Beckman, Clare Boothe Luce. We receive funding from NSF and NIH through what are called Summer Research Experiences for Undergraduates, REUs.
Fantastic.
And those are programs throughout the entire country, but we have a number here through chemistry, astronomy, photonics, for example. So, but generally, if students are going to apply for funding to work with a faculty member here and are not already part of a program, invariably they're going to apply for some of our internal funding. But that's not really things that these undergraduates need to worry about.
And I imagine all of this stuff in this detail and timeline is all online.
Absolutely. And I should mention that we're going through a website overhaul, and that should be unveiled shortly, but not in time for the summer deadline. But yes, but all of the information is available.
Give us your URL while you're talking.
It's actually quite simple. It's bu.edu/UROP. UROP.
Simple one. Go around, fish around on it a little bit.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions for Paul?
We
from
do.
our
We've
listening
got a few
audience?
questions. Paul, why don't you take that first question there?
Okay.
Go ahead and just read it off for us. And
All right. So this one just asked, what is the fall 2015 application deadline? So right now we don't have a set date. The deadline tends to be sometime in the middle or toward the end of the second week of the fall semester.
Okay.
All right. So that will be announced generally sometime in July or August.
Okay.
Second question, when will opportunities for the fall 2015 semester be posted? Great question. Faculty post opportunities for students throughout the entire year. They tend not to focus on a particular funding deadline, either because they're not really sure of the funding deadline, or it doesn't matter. It's when they have a need in the laboratory or an opening. But that doesn't mean that there are not other open opportunities. Students may identify potential faculty mentors in any number of different ways. Sometimes they may just approach a member of the faculty who's teaching their class. Fantastic way, because they already know what the discipline is. They can look for listings of research faculty interests on departmental or program websites. So the UROP website is only one way in which students may identify potential faculty mentors.
It's almost like an online ramp, right?
It
but,
is.
But students should really take advantage of their faculty connections and networking
Absolutely.
with faculty.
Absolutely. And talk to their peers who are working in laboratories. That's another great way to identify.
Is that a
potential
good starting
opportunities.
point? So just one more time, some
Sure.
of those starting points. You know, I
Yeah.
think I want to do this. I'm not sure. You've sold me a little bit.
Yeah.
Where do I start?
Talk to their advisors, talk to their faculty.
Okay, good.
Talk to the faculty up in front of the room after class, go to office hours, absolutely engage with your faculty.
And do I have to be a straight A student to do this?
Absolutely not. In fact, my particular perspective is I would like to get as more of those students who are not top academic achievers, in part because what we've seen is that getting those students in there who may be a little unsure or maybe struggling a little bit academically benefit an enormous amount from that engagement. So absolutely, you do not need to be a 4.0 student.
Go ahead and
Right,
take
so let's
another
take that
question.
one. How does UROP benefit students? Again, fantastic question. The opportunity to work with a member of the faculty is an opportunity for students to apply what they've been learning in their classes, to see that the work that they're reading about in the textbooks isn't just coming out of thin air. This is scholarship. This is work that faculty throughout all over the world are working on. It's what we call knowledge creation, and it is an opportunity for students to be a part of that. It again gives students a direct hands-on experience within a discipline, to learn the language of that, to identify potential career paths by seeing what the actual work looks like, or learning, I don't want to do this at all, which is again a fantastic
Which is a
outcome.
good thing to do, right?
Absolutely. It allows students to take ownership of the work that they're doing. It allows them to say, "This is mine. I created this. I took I made an investment in this work, and I have something to show for it. I might become a student author with a faculty member. I could present at meetings, for example. So they could present posters at our annual symposium. So these are all excellent reasons for students to get involved in work.
Hey, let me
faculty.
throw in a little
Sure.
something about presenting at those meetings. We have worked with some of your students who might be going to a meeting to present, say, in Minneapolis, and they've contacted us. We had a generous set of donors who give us frequent flyer miles, and we've used those frequent flyer miles for students to be able to get to the locations where they do their presentations. So
Professional meetings and
professional
presentations.
meetings and presentations. Yeah, that's right. So to make sure you say to your daughter or your son out there, or if a student's listening, that's an opportunity that's also available. We try to work hand in hand with what's going on with UROP.
So if I can, I'll just add to that, UROP also provides funding outside of the research experience for students to attend conferences or perform research off-site. So for example, we have students working on archaeological digs in the Middle East.
Wow.
Or attending meetings across country. So
travel-related expenses.
absolutely. Yep. So that's
Fabulous.
that's in addition to what the Dean of Students offers.
Paul, are there any opportunities for liberal arts students?
Absolutely. Again, another great question. UROP traditionally, in the minds of many folks, is a funding mechanism for students in the science. However, this is something that we are trying to push back against, and by reaching out to students throughout the humanities and the arts. And last fall funding cycle, we saw a 70% increase in the applications for students in the arts and humanities.
Wow.
So one of the ways in which we're doing this is we're working directly with departments in the humanities. So we just confirmed a program with the English department, which will essentially provide a scaffolding for students to acquire the skills to ultimately engage in independent scholarship. So they want to start working with students as early as their first year, and then continue to have those students participate in that process of scholarship within the humanities. And it's a different type of process than it is in the sciences.
Right.
But absolutely, there are opportunities for students throughout. So the College of Fine Arts, for example, has a number of students working on public art installations and looking at the impact of public art installations on folks out in the city.
That's cool. So we got a question here.
Sure.
Asking you to provide examples of significant or valuable outcomes of some of these research projects. And I mean, you talked a little bit about outcomes, so
Yeah.
give us a couple.
I think one of the clearest positive outcomes is being a co-author on a publication. This is an opportunity for a student to emerge saying, I was a member of this team. I contributed to this work, and I participated in the dissemination of this work. We have students who are serving as mentors for their younger peers, which is an absolutely invaluable enterprise. We have students who are taking on leadership roles in helping to basically help design some of the projects and just take a more active role in the laboratories or with the faculty members on the projects they're working on. So those are just some of the clearest examples. Other less tangible ones are just the opportunity, again, as I mentioned, to be embedded within this atmosphere.
Well, and you think about it, it sounds to me like you were describing the very core of what a research experience should be about.
Absolutely.
And why you come to a university. I mean, if you think
Yeah,
about it,
right.
why'd you come to a university to do things like UROP, right?
Yep,
And
absolutely.
over and above a resume builder, that research, when you say is published, you can be online other than Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter in valuable documentation, right?
But you can have that
You-
listed on your Facebook
Absolutely.
or any of
Right,
those
right.
Social media.
Yeah, social-
Absolutely.
right.
Hey, Paul, let me get to one more.
Sure thing.
Someone asked if the UROP program provides summer housing.
So UROP does not provide summer housing. However, there are a number of programs on campus during the summer. It's a little too late for the summer, but there are programs that students can participate in. For example, BU Summer Term, serving as program assistants, admissions, and Dean's Host, for example, are programs where students may get summer housing,
Right.
And also have time to
Work from
participate in
our
research.
offices. Same sort of
Absolutely,
thing. We've had
yeah.
students in UROP who work for us as well.
Yep.
So again, your name, the website, and how best for students and parents to reach you.
Sure. My name is Paul Lipton, the director of the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program. Our website, bu.edu/UROP. And best place to reach us is really, the contact information is through that website, urop.bu.edu.
Paul,
Or at BU, sorry.
it's great having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We appreciate it
Thank
too.
you very much.
Good to
See you on the road.
You bet.
So we're going to take a quick break, and next up we're going to be talking about going abroad. Get out of here, go away, and we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back, and we'll be listening to. You are listening to the BU Parents Program Radio Show. Remember, you've got questions, send them to @BU Parents on Twitter. Welcome back to the BU Parents Radio Show, sponsored by the BU Parents Program. If you have questions, and we're talking about all kinds of wonderful things that you should be thinking about for the summer and next fall, if you've got those questions, go on to Twitter and hit us up at BU Parents. That's BUPARENTS, and we'll do our best to try and answer those questions. Or you can give your questions or put your questions in the show page on this program, and we'll do our best to try and answer those questions for you. So, Daryl, another guest for us here.
Thank you, Dean Elmore. Our guest number 2 and part 2 segment of our Parents Program radio broadcast. We're blessed and fortunate to have with us Leilani Olson. Welcome.
Hey,
Thank you.
Leilani,
Thank
welcome.
you for having me.
Leilani is the Associate Director of University Relations and Campus Outreach at Boston University for the Study of Program Office.
What's your
That-
name badge look like?
Exactly.
There's not enough room on it.
Yeah.
We are grateful that she's taken the time and
And she brought us tchotchkes.
she brought us
Look at
tchotchkes.
that.
Study a BU abroad. Go
Very
away.
weather appropriate.
Yes.
Absolutely.
If I'm going to Antarctica or Boston, right?
There we go. Look at us.
All right.
Live. So
You wear them well.
Leilani, thank you. Leilani has been working for Boston University since 2003.
That is
Seriously?
right.
It's incredible.
Seriously?
After having graduated from BU as well.
And she's an
Wow.
alumnus. So talk to us a little bit about some program opportunities and a little bit about the study abroad process.
Sure. So students at Boston University are very fortunate in that they have a pretty large portfolio of study abroad programs from which to choose. We aim to have something for everyone. So if it's a niche interest like archaeology or studio arts or somebody who's interested in business, we pretty much have it all. We have some programs that are, really liberal arts programs focused on taking courses, some of which include foreign languages. But we also, I think, are fairly well known for our internship opportunities. So with our internship programs, we offer students the opportunity to pursue a professional experience for academic credit, while also pursuing courses to complement the internship experience.
So you mean I'm in another country and I'm doing an internship like as if I were in Boston or something like that?
Exactly.
Wow.
Fabulous, huh?
Exactly.
That really is.
So speaking of internships, I just briefed you this. I wanted to read you
Yes.
a Boston University parent, Anne Marie Santiago Greenberg, who I knew when she was a student back in the 80s.
No way.
She went with Risa Mays here.
Ah,
And Daniel
okay.
DeLuca and Michael Cohen, this, all that genre. Well, she has a son who transferred to Boston University from Syracuse. He currently is in London and experiencing the time of his life with his internship program. I'll read you one sentence. His internship is with an international news organization that sets up on-air interviews all over the world. Today alone, this was posted 3 hours ago, he set up interviews with journalists in Prague, Yemen, to talk with Al Jazeera and French TV. Pretty amazing. Cannot speak more highly of BU's amazing program and the real-time experience my son is getting. There it is.
Wow.
Perfect quote. So it was timely that she happened to
Very.
post this today.
Very, very. So you're telling us too that there's no excuse for somebody who says, well, I'm an engineer and there's nowhere in the world I can go, or I'm pre-med and there's just nowhere I can go. I can't go abroad.
Exactly. I mean, I think there are some program locations that may be able to accommodate certain students and perhaps not others, but then there will be other locations that can accommodate students. So you mentioned engineering and science, for example. We have some programs that are really targeted to students in these areas. So for example, we have what we call our sophomore science programs. So they are science programs that are offered during the fall semester of the sophomore year in Dresden, Germany, Grenoble, France, and Madrid, Spain. And there is no language requirement prior to going. So although the students will be asked and required to take a language class once on site, their actual science courses will be done in English, taught by local faculty.
Wow.
And the same thing goes for engineering students as well. We have engineering programs during the spring semester of the sophomore year in those same locations. And then there are other opportunities for students in the sciences and engineering during other parts of their academic career and in other locations. For example, physics students have an excellent opportunity to study advanced physics at the University of Geneva while also doing independent research at CERN.
At the CERN?
At the CERN,
Wow, see
exactly.
that is pretty amazing. Wow.
Yes.
So the study abroad program is just not a fall semester, spring semester.
Right.
Talk a little bit about the opportunities that are available for students.
Yes, so even though we do have a wide variety of opportunities for students, including students that may typically have stricter a stricter curriculum, such as science and engineering students. We also have summer programs, which are a bit shorter,
yep.
and this is a good opportunity for students that might not be able to fit in a full semester abroad during their 4 years at BU. And just as the case with our fall and spring semester programs, we have a pretty wide portfolio of options for students. In fact, there are some locations where we have programs during the summer that we don't have during the fall and spring. Buenos Aires, for example, Lima, Peru, Zanzibar, Tanzania, just a few examples for you.
Amazing,
Yes.
amazing.
So-
And they're shorter programs, so students don't have to make as much of an investment in time for these programs.
So most of our students, well, what year do most of our students tend to go abroad? Junior year?
Yes, the majority of the students do go abroad the junior year, but we have students going the senior year as well, including the last semester of senior year. And then, of course, we do have these programs that are really targeted towards sophomore students just because of the types of courses that they would
Right.
typically take during the sophomore year of the ones that are offered then.
I'm one of these people who is a big fan sophomore year of going abroad. I just think that there is this level of transformation that you get that should happen sooner than later. I go abroad your sophomore year. I just think it's really
One
important.
wonderful thing that we've noticed is for some of our science programs, the students that are going are really focused on the sciences, and their first priority isn't necessarily learning the language or the culture. That's sort of an added bonus. And what has happened is once the students have gone, they've sort of fallen in love with the language and the culture, and they have found a way to go back to that
Wow.
country on a different study abroad program during the junior and senior year.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's what you want.
That's
right?
exactly
you
what
want to
we
be
want.
more than a tourist when you go to these places. You
And
want
that's
to
the
really
point
engage
with our
it.
programs. They are academic programs. So whether you're doing an internship or you're just taking courses, even though I think most students have a fun time abroad, it's not a vacation.
right.
It's an academic experience that's really meant to add some cultural enrichment, language enrichment in some cases, and also it's not a bad thing to have on a resume.
Not at all.
All right, I got a few questions.
Sure.
Let's take this one. This question came in, and the question is, what are the requirements to go abroad? My son said his GPA is too low, but I'd hate for him to miss that opportunity.
Sure. So, although the academic record is something that is obviously a very important component of the application process, all in all, we don't have a GPA requirement. It's something that we had many years ago, but we found that there are a number of students that actually are very strong students, but they may have started off their freshman year getting off to a little bit of a rough start, maybe because they wanted to pursue one major, change their mind, etc. So we really look at the whole application. We're looking at a student's transcript. The students are also required to submit an advisor approval form, which just shows that the student has spoken with an academic advisor. There is a series of questions that the student is asked to answer regarding why they've chosen a certain program, what are their plans, etc.
So you've got to apply. You don't just say I'm going
It's
abroad.
not a
and go.
sign up.
Right.
It's
you don't
not
sign
a sign up
right?
process. So there are a number of different things. We ask for one academic recommendation from a professor as well. If it's an advanced foreign language program, then students would be asked to submit a writing sample in the language. But in terms of the GPA, I mean, it's obviously a good idea to have a strong GPA, but we really don't have a cutoff except for some of the exchange programs or programs where there's direct enrollment at the local university. In some cases, the university who's hosting the student may have a requirement, but that's not the majority of the cases.
Okay.
So we encourage all students to apply.
Very good.
Alani, one question.
Yes.
What are the application deadlines for this coming fall 2015 semester? Or have we already surpassed them?
No, so for the fall, the application deadline is March 15th.
Okay. So relatively soon.
Coming up.
Yes, for the summer programs, the deadline for our Washington and London internship programs was February 15th, but
Okay.
those deadlines have actually been extended to March 2nd.
Okay.
And
good
then
to
the
know.
summer deadline for all the other programs is March 1st. So
Okay.
there is still time to apply.
Okay.
So get on it.
Get on it. March 1st is this Sunday, I think,
That's right, that's
Yep.
right.
Yes.
March 1st is also the deadline for transfer application for admission to Boston University,
Yes,
which
that's
is a
right.
whole separate
That's right.
subject.
Different subject,
Yep.
right.
But same date.
Yes.
What other questions do we have?
If my student goes abroad in the fall, will she still have on-campus housing in the spring? So the general answer to this is yes. I would say the best thing though is to visit the website of the Office of Housing because there's actually a whole section designated to study abroad, so you can really see what the ins and outs are. But the general answer is yes. I mean, it's still a lottery system the way it is, even if a student were here on campus during the fall as well.
And momentarily, we're going to be speaking with our friends in the Office of Housing, and we can put that to them a little bit more.
Yes. The next question, is it too late for my son to apply for a summer internship abroad? So I feel like we really just answered that question. It isn't. I would recommend that the student apply as soon as possible, but the deadline is March 1st.
And when someone applies, they're not. It's a total package. You work with them for the internship as well as their academic program.
Exactly. So the student, if the student is interested in doing an internship program, the student will apply to that whole program. And then the internship placement process will take place after the student has been admitted to the program. There's a whole series of steps that happens after that. But the first step is applying to the program. Once the student has been admitted to the program, we guarantee an internship placement in the student's sector of interest, but there will be a whole series of steps that happen after that.
But you work with the student.
We do. We have internship placement coordinators on site in all of the locations who work in building relationships with local companies and organizations and work interactively with the student to get a feel for what the student's interests and skill sets are.
That is service.
You know, from a parent's perspective, I'm sure they're sitting out there and they're worried about one or two things. One is, where does my son or daughter live? So how does that housing component factor in? And is it safe to travel abroad?
Oh, wow.
Sure. So for the first question regarding housing, we provide housing for all of our programs. There are a couple of exchange programs which are particularly independent.
You're talking like London, Sydney, Quito,
Yes.
everywhere you provide housing?
Yes, we do. For a few of the exchange programs, which are particularly independent, we don't have our own housing, but there is guidance on how to get housing. But really, for all of our sponsored programs, we provide housing for students. And the type of housing will vary from one location to the next. So in some places, we have our own facilities where students would be living in a dorm or apartment style setup. In some of our foreign language locations, students would be placed with families that are vetted in advance, and we will locate them with those families.
Nice.
Yes. And in terms of health and safety, I think that this is something that's on everybody's mind. We have designated staff members in the Study Abroad office as well as in BU Global programs that work specifically with health and safety matters. They're in regular communication with our staff on site. The staff on site will work with the local U.S. Embassy as well to get advice about travel conditions and so forth, working also with local police and other authorities. And we make sure that we have pretty regular communication with parents and students, especially if there's an incident in any area, for example.
And institutionally, I know that the Boston University has always held safety and health and welfare as a number one priority,
Yes.
particularly when students travel.
This is the case, yes.
And generally speaking, we would not open up a program or continue with a program if we didn't feel that the factors for safety were present.
That is correct. In fact, we had a wonderful program in Niger, Africa at one point in time, and we had to temporarily suspend the program because of health and safety matters, and because we realized that the situation wasn't improving, we did ultimately have to indefinitely cancel the program, which was unfortunate, but the number one priority was health and safety. And just one other point to health and safety is that for all of our programs, we do an on-site orientation once the students arrive, and in that orientation, there is a segment that is dedicated to health and safety matters.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
Alana, you get the last word. What do you want to tell everyone?
Oh, well, I just want to tell everybody that Study Abroad is an excellent opportunity for students to really take advantage of. Some students may be a little bit apprehensive about going outside of the comfort zone. I think it is something that is so beneficial to students. I actually did it on a number of occasions. I don't regret it. I did it before coming to BU. I did it during BU. I did it after BU. And pretty much anybody I've spoken with has said, even if there are moments where you may feel challenged, you're in a different type of routine, a different setting, in the end you gain skills and knowledge that you wouldn't get in a typical classroom setting. And I think that BU is a wonderful institution in terms of the opportunities that we have available. And I think that everybody should take advantage of it.
And real quickly, your website?
Yes, www.bu.edu/abroad.
Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us
Thank you
today.
for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, being here.
So we're going to take another break in the Parents Radio program, sponsored by the BU Parents Program. While we're away, feel free to send us your questions at BU Parents on Twitter.
TV.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Hey, welcome back to the BU Parents radio program, sponsored by the BU Parents program. As I've said before, if you have questions, feel free to go onto Twitter and send your questions to @BU Parents. That's BU Parents, BUPARENTS, or right here on the show page. We'll keep an eye out, and we've got plenty of questions, and we will ask them. This show, we seem to be asking a lot about what should your daughter or son be thinking about now for the summer and beyond for the fall. We got a guest, believe it or
We do.
not, and it's not Robert from Dining Services like
No,
we
it's
usually have.
not. We usually do. We miss Robert
Yes.
from Dining Services. We have segment number 3 of today's radio broadcast is our esteemed director of housing,
Esteemed
Nishman Ketchup.
Dr. Nishman.
Doctor, exactly, who joins us live from the comforts of her office, I think.
Yes.
Via telephone. So welcome, Nishman.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
We're thrilled. We are going to talk all things housing today.
Right.
So talk to us a little bit about, first of all, the kinds of options that are available to live on campus for undergraduate students.
Because there's only one or two, right?
There's only one or two.
We have plenty. We have about 145 odd buildings, and you can choose to live in a small community, in a very large community, or a medium community. We have dormitory style, where and suite style and apartment style. So those are the three types. The apartment style basically you have a kitchen, and your suite style you have a shared a smaller number of students will share a bathroom. And dormitory style, it typically is up and down the hallway. The bathroom will be not within your living accommodations or shared living accommodations. Those are the types. So we have everything and any type of accommodation that a student would want.
So Nishman, we get a lot of questions from parents about what are the true benefits of living off campus versus moving off campus.
Yeah.
What do you
Sure.
say to a parent?
Well, the three major things that I like to mention about living on campus is the community, the residential community, the RAs, and of course the community of the students. Then the on-campus services that are so freely available and at walking distances, and of course safety. Students name safety as the number one, things that are important, and they rate us very highly on that. Whether it's BUPD or our senior security assistants in the lobby of our large residences.
And Nishman, one of the things that comes up is people ask, well, do you group students in their living circumstance based on their class year?
Well, for continuing students, no, it's a choice that the students will have.
Mm-hmm.
So they can form groups with a sophomore could live with a junior and a senior, and that's not a problem. So it's basically who your friends are for the upperclassmen. So the room selection or order, for our senior students or for our continuing students are based on class year. So they can form whatever groups they want.
All right, so take us through that a little bit, Nishman, the room selection process. So by now, I probably have gotten some information about what I need to do to get into the room selection process. So what happens now?
Well, currently students are still filling out their application online. The deadline is for continuing students to submit their application is this Friday.
Wow.
Timely.
Yep. And
You didn't change it because of the snow or anything, did you?
No, we did not,
Okay.
because it was online.
Okay.
And so students will go into they can select from three distinct processes. So one is a same room process. So I like my room and I'm going to stay there. And
You
students
stand up
can-
and you sit right back down, right?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
And I can pull in whatever friends I want. If I want my current roommate and the current roommate wants to stay there, fine. You're all done, and the process is over for you.
So you mean if I've got like the fancy digs over at 33 Harry Aganis Way, and I stay in my room and then there's a space open, I could bring somebody in with me to my cool room?
Absolutely. So
Wow.
long as that person is eligible. Sophomores are not eligible for student village in the apartment style,
Oh.
but they are eligible for the suite style.
Gotcha. But I can bring somebody in if they're in the right station in life here.
Absolutely.
All right, good.
Absolutely. The second bucket is internal room selection, which is I like the building that I live in, and so, but I may be on the lower floor or maybe on a higher floor, and I want to just change my location. So then I will go in, the student will go in and select within their building, and we
Okay.
have special days for that.
Okay.
And the third category is community. So then I just go into a community selection, and whatever is there during my time, I can select from across the campus, and which is, of course, the most popular.
All right.
Now, we may have some parents listening in whose sons and daughters have either applied to Bosch University or have already been admitted through early decision.
Right.
Sure.
And can you talk about, is housing guaranteed for new students coming in?
Absolutely. It is guaranteed, and is guaranteed for all the undergraduate years, so long as the student lives with us continuously.
Oh, so you're saying that if my son moves off campus sophomore year, you can't come back junior year?
You can, but it would depend on, you would have to reapply. We guarantee it only if it's continuous. But we certainly will. The student can reapply, and there have been years that students have been bought on, and it's not a problem.
And if there's space available, you can come back on.
Absolutely, it's just not guaranteed.
Gotcha.
Now, we're embarking on, in the next, believe it or not, Dean, 10 days, spring break 2015. We understand that some students, in addition to going on alternative spring break trips, they stay in Boston to either work or to have an internship, and there is something called vacation housing.
That's right. Students who are in dormitory-style accommodations would need to leave during, March. I believe it's March 7th to March 15th. They can leave their belongings behind, and we have contracted out spaces in 2 local hotels, and students can sign up for that. And the price for the entire spring recess is $320, I believe.
And that's accommodated for about 7 or 8 days.
Yeah, and it works out to $40 a night.
And Nishman, next year we're doing something different with that, right?
That's right. Next year, all students can stay in their rooms for Thanksgiving and spring break. But during intersession, if you are in a dormitory-style accommodation, you would need to leave during the intersession. But for Thanksgiving and spring break, which are the most popular breaks that students have asked to live on campus, those are now available for next year.
So next year I'm planning my vacation during spring break to be in sunny Boston, and I'm gonna have a place
That's a
to
good
crash, and it won't cost me any more. It is gonna be the best vacation I've ever had.
And I can stay in my same room.
And I stay in my room, right? I don't have to
Wow.
move somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm booking Boston next year.
That's great.
Let's go to some questions.
Yeah. You've answered a few that I've got here. One thing that was mentioned is, what are the housing preferences for sophomores? Do they get preferences as sophomores?
Well, it is what is available during their time, when their time comes for room selection. However, the same 3 buckets are available to them, so they can remain in the same room if they like it, or get pulled in by another friend who has a better number, who's a junior or a senior, and they might, get into an accommodation that way. Or they like the building, so they do an internal selection or community.
Okay.
The only thing is that they go after the seniors, the juniors, the sophomores are the third tier.
Okay.
So we have a timely question, Nishman. What is the deadline for summer housing, which is right around the corner?
Sure.
And may my daughter stay in the same room as she is now?
Very
part.
good question.
Yep.
So the first part is the deadline is April 24th
Okay,
for
coming
summer
up.
session 1.
Yep.
And summer session 2 is June 5th. And these are, on our website, housing, www.bu.edu/housing. And for if a student wants to continue to stay in the same room, the typical answer is it depends, or we never guarantee it, because the buildings are repurposed over the summer, and events and conferences might be using it, so it's never a guarantee.
So it really
But-
depends where the student is living on campus.
I'm sorry.
It really depends upon where the student is living on campus.
That is true, and so we can never guarantee it. But if we don't need to make the student move, we will not.
Perfect.
Wow.
Can a student? What do students do at the end of the year as May approaches very quickly? In terms of storage, I live in California. I don't want to take everything home. Is there any resources available for that?
Yes, we have contracted out with UPS storage, and on our website again we have a link to the UPS store, and they'll come, they'll box everything and take it away. And so the student they provide the boxes, and there's a drop-off location, and they'll store it and they'll bring it back when the student comes back, and it's very easy.
All that information is available on your website.
Absolutely.
I'm smiling when you were saying that, Nishman, because I can't get my family members to help me store and box up, and these complete strangers come and take care of my things. Finally, how do folks get a hold of you? I know your website has so much information on it. Give it to us again.
Our website is www.bu.edu/housing, and housing@bu.edu is an email that gets addressed within 24 hours, and it is monitored by our senior staff, so we answer very promptly.
Perfect.
Thanks, Nishman.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope you come back soon.
Appreciate
I
it.
will.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Bye.
We're going to take another quick break, and we will be right back with the BU Parents Radio Show.
Sound.
All right. So we got a wrap, but before we go, a couple of things we want to make sure you know about.
As folks know, all around the country, Boston has been pummeled with snow this year. We've had 4 major snowstorms. I think the total accumulation of snow has been 99 inches. The all-time record is 107. So sadly, we're going to beat that record before the winter's out. But Boston University has been closed for 5 academic school days this month alone.
Making me cherish spring. I really am going to cherish spring.
And the university provost and her committee has announced that we have 2 makeup classes. One happens to be this coming Saturday, February 28th, and a second one on Saturday, March 21st. And those days are to make up classes so that faculty can catch up where they left off.
That's right. That's right.
Very, very important, and so just be mindful of that as some of your sons and daughters will be in school.
So this Saturday is a regular day where we open our dining halls as though it were a Monday. We will be doing everything. We've moved things around, shifted things around, including a basketball game that was going to be at 12 noon on a Saturday. Well, we've got to move it to later in the day. And I know we had a parents' reception that was planned. Well, the parents' reception's still on. 2 p.m. is when the parents' reception will start. Sorry, kiddies, you probably can't go because you'll be in class. And then the game happens right after the reception at around 4, and you can hang around and do the kinds of things that you need to do.
Dinelmo, tell us who we're playing and where we're playing.
We are playing Holy Cross at the Harry Aganis Arena right up here on campus. So come on by and take a look.
That's great.
The Crusaders, I think they are.
Absolutely. Holy Cross Crusaders are a pretty good team.
Pretty good team.
Yeah.
Well, and we got a pretty good team, too. So
We hope to finish strong in our Division I men's varsity basketball program also.
That's right.
We also want to say to remind parents that if undergraduate students who are living on campus have housing or residence life related storm or issues or winter issues or heat issues, please contact your area hall office in the residence life because we're happy to address those issues as quickly as possible.
And look, we try our best to make sure that there is absolute perfection, but Mother Nature does the sorts of things to our buildings that they do to our houses and your houses. Frost heaves, leaks, ice places that shouldn't be, heat that's a little slow. So all those sorts of things, please make sure the Residence Life people know about it. They are on top of it.
I do want to give a great shout out to those folks in facilities management and planning who have
Absolutely.
done an unbelievable, incredible job 24/7 removing snow. Boston University actually has a snow melter.
A snow
We
melter.
have so much snow that we have the snow melter that can melt 7 tons of snow per hour.
Hey, and by the way, right around Boston University property, you can see bare pavement. Hey, the other people I'd like to thank are the people who fed our children over the course of that time in our dining halls, the people who ran our residence life programs. There are a lot of people who came in here to be really helpful to make sure that we were all taken care of.
And the other good news is the MBTA Green Line and operations
It's
up
finally
and
running!
Finally, thank God.
Yay!
Our shuttle bus is running, and a lot of folks were out walking around, but it was joyful to see the MBTA back online and up and running, and we are grateful to the state.
We are very grateful for that. Hey, and finally, all right, take a guess. How many days to graduation? Go ahead, write it down. Write it down. See if you're right. Right? Go ahead.
Because
I'll give you a minute.
You get an award. You get a tchotchke.
Yeah, you get a tchotchke if you do it. Ready? All right. How many days?
I'm going to say 95.
All right, I'm going to write it down right here. Let's see if you are right.
Graduation's in May, right? Coming up.
81 days till graduation.
81 days.
So for all you parents who will be joining us pretty soon, and 81 days, you know, goes pretty fast. We'll see you on campus, and let's get on our seniors to start thinking a little bit more than maybe they have about what happens the day after, you know, because we love them, but they can't stay here.
And Dinelmo, a great recommendation for parents is to visit the commencement website,
That's right.
bu.edu/commencement. All things commencement, graduation.
You got it.
We look forward to welcoming you back on campus, and we can't wait to see you.
Be well.